Okay, I know, like, technically that pink shirt I was wearing had short sleeves, but this is the first, like, nice shirt I've been able to wear because it's warm out. And it feels pretty awesome. But not as awesome as the movie I finally got to see yesterday. So, remember in yesterday's video I said there was a movie I wanted to watch but I didn't have the time? Well, I found the time yesterday, and I finally got to watch it. And you've already seen the title of this video, so you know exactly what movie it is. Before I get into that, let's do my little act of kindness. Let's see. What is my... You know, I do have a low. And I actually had a different shirt. A little more long sleeve and modest. But... And this is a shirt I wore like a bunch of times too. But I think it might have actually shrunk. Like, no, that's not like a me gaining weight thing. I really do think the shirt shrunk. Because a year ago, like, it was the sleeves. The sleeves, like, I swear, like, if I stretched out my arms in this shirt, the sleeve would, like, go down to, like, here. And that shouldn't happen. So, you know what? Wear short sleeves today. Why not? What's my high? Oh, my high is the movie I got to see yesterday. I'm so excited to talk about it too. And what's my act of kindness? Well, I held the door for someone yesterday. I did that. What else did I do? Well, I grabbed a shopping cart for someone else before I got one for myself. I did that. So, yeah. The movie I saw yesterday. Okay, so this is actually a movie that I wanted to see when it came out last year, but I just, I didn't have the time. You know, I was going through a lot of stuff. Actually, when? Yeah, like, I was going through a lot. I didn't really see movie, and it came out in January of last year, not 2020, January 2025. So this movie is like close to a year and a half old, and I never got a chance to watch it. And I remember seeing the promos for it, you know, starring Keke Palmer and SZA as like the leads, which his movie was actually SZA's film debut, because SZA's known for being a rap artist. And this movie was so good, guys. It's on Netflix right now. You know what? After you're done watching this, go see this movie. This movie's called One of Them Days, and I mean, it does a few things that, you know, film buffs like myself have seen before. You know, two leads, one being, you know, hardworking and proper, the other one being more like a naive, go-with-the-flow type of personality. There's the trope of, you know, anything that can go wrong will, and believe me, that happens a lot in this movie. And there's the idea of, like, you know, if you know for a fact you're in a relationship with someone who clearly doesn't care about you, just leave them, please. Like, absolutely leave them. Okay, so it starts off with Drew, played by Keke Palmer, who just finished working a night shift at the diner she works at. She has an interview later in the afternoon where she could potentially be a franchise manager somewhere. Now, my eyelashes got like in my line of sight. Anyway, meanwhile, she gets to her apartment where her best friend, Alyssa, played by SZA, you know, she doesn't really do much. I mean, she's an aspiring artist and she makes good work, but, you know, she doesn't think she's that good. On top of that, she lives with her ne'er-do-well loser boyfriend, Keyshawn, who I am convinced was meant to be the main villain of this movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some bad people in this movie, to be sure. The landlord's a giant douche. You got, hold on. Bernice, who Keyshawn cheats on Alyssa with. But yeah, Keyshawn is the main villain of this movie by far. By far. Seriously. Keyshawn was... Oh, kudos to the actor who played him, Josh Neal, as well as both the direction and the writing, because they made me truly dislike this character. And I'm supposed to dislike this character. So, good job. But, this character I disliked so much, it made me feel better about myself. I don't have a girlfriend, and, I have my own fair share of problems, but, at least I work. At least I make something of myself. At least, I wouldn't... Oh, my God. Okay, so... The plot of this movie is... obviously, Drew and Alyssa rent in an apartment. I mentioned their evil landlord. Now, they were convinced that they paid the landlord, but Alyssa gave the money to Keyshawn. And he did not pay the landlord. He invested in a t-shirt company. Yeah, I really did not like this character. I hated Keyshawn. I mean, the landlord wasn't a good character either. I mean, again, the actors portraying these characters, they're phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. They did what they were supposed to do. Which, again, is a credit to the actors, of course, but also the direction, the writing. Because you know right away who you're supposed to be rooting for and who's clearly against the protagonist. Which is awesome. I'm glad to see writing like that. And, I mean, the cast in this movie is phenomenal. Vanessa Bell Calloway, Lil Ray Howery, Cat Williams. Oh, Cat Williams, listen. It's very clear that Cat Williams became really popular based on that Club Shay Shay episode, which deservedly so. But I forgot just how entertaining Cat Williams can be in a movie. He plays Lucky, who is the type of character where, as crazy of a character as Lucky looks and acts like, if he has something to say, you need to listen to him. Okay? You need to take heed. You need to take heed. Yes, that was a joke of the movie. But obviously, again, since Keyshawn blew away the money on t-shirts, Alyssa and Drew got to find a way to make $1,500 by 6 p.m. in the evening, or their landlord will evict them, which, spoiler alert, he does, although he makes an educated guess and, gets rid of them. But what follows is a series of events that, again, anything that could go wrong did. They tried getting money for blood. They tried to go to one of those, loan business type people. They found these really popular looking shoes that really did belong to a gangster, but they're really expensive popular shoes, so they try selling those shoes. And in the meantime, unfortunately, a lot of the problems of this movie tend to stem from if they just sit around and talk things out, a lot of things wouldn't have happened. I mentioned Bernice earlier. Obviously, no one should mess with her anyway. And yeah, she's an antagonist in the film. But if Drew and Alyssa just talked to Bernice, be like, listen, Keyshawn stole our rent money, and we're trying to get it back. Like, listen, obviously that was never going to happen because, why? It ruined the plot. But also, it does lead to some funny moments. Especially the scene where, like, Bernice is running after Drew and Alyssa, and a guy, like, opens their truck door, and, like, she runs into the truck door. That was actually really great. And, there is also, the classic be wary of using your phone, because that's how Bernice was able to, because, Alyssa just had to use her phone to talk to Keyshawn, and Bernice, here's the thing, it wasn't the fact that Alyssa talked to Keyshawn on the phone, it was the fact that Bernice posted a photo, and Bernice was able, or at least Alyssa was able to post a photo, and Bernice was able to figure out where that background is. And she's like, okay, I know where that background is. I know where they are right now. Like, yes, again, and obviously Drew and Alyssa had that fallout where, both of their personalities really do clash. Their friendship is put to the test. They even do a scene where, they part ways, even though they're pretty much just across the street from each other. And, by the way, in case you're wondering, yes, they actually do explain why, Alyssa was with Keyshawn. Actually, they show you why Alyssa's with Keyshawn. And it's the exact reason you would think she would be with Keyshawn. But man, this movie was great. This movie was a lot of fun. I mean, look, Keke Palmer is a woman that needs no introduction. She's been a spelling bee, she's been a QB, she's been a VP. I mean, Keke Palmer, no notes on her. Queen. That goes without saying. SZA, for her first film debut. I mean, it's very clear that she can do, listen, if nothing else, no, she was phenomenal. I mean, this is her first film that she's ever been in. So, any problems that anyone would have had with her, they can be forgiven because, again, she does have she's a phenomenal talent. And if this movie showed us anything, it's that, not only does SZA have range, but she can do comedy really well. And it also helps the fact that she's playing alongside Keke Palmer. I could definitely see SZA trying to do what Rihanna did and go into more serious roles. I could see her doing that. I'd be open to seeing that. Great. Actually, Keke Palmer's already done that. Again, I mentioned Rihanna, she's done that, so I could see SZA taking a similar direction. I mean, I could totally see her doing comedies as well. But SZA, to me, strikes as the kind of person who's going to want to do a lot more. Broaden her horizons and evolve her craft. And I can definitely say this movie, phenomenal step in the right direction. Absolutely. Again, like, you legitimately buy that, Keke Palmer and SZA's characters are, best friends. They are ride or dies. And yeah, they do have wildly different personalities. Again, Drew was the more driven character, the hard-working character, the serious character. And SZA was, SZA, who plays Alyssa was the more laid back, go with the flow, slightly naive, aspiring artist type person. And their personalities worked off each other beautifully. It was wonderful. I love seeing that. And speaking of things I love seeing, I mean, they make it at the end of the movie where, like, all the loose ends are tied up. At the end, people start buying Alyssa's work. Drew becomes her business partner, as well as Drew successfully becomes a franchise manager as well. That's really awesome. And, okay, there's also a running gag in the movie that there's a white neighbor in this all-black neighborhood that Drew and Alyssa live in, who's played by Maud Apatow. And it's a running joke that, like, you know, she's the white girl in a neighborhood full of black people. Okay. Actually, it's funnier than I'm making it sound, I can assure you. But in the end, Keyshawn moves in with Bethany, and Keyshawn had like a lot of shoes, and Bethany had a dog named Shooter who uses the shoes as chew toys. And yeah, bad things deserve to happen to bad people, and I guess that's okay, but man, I wanted someone to punch Keyshawn in the face. Like, I really wanted someone to punch Keyshawn in the face. I really did. Like, someone do that. I mean, at the end of the day, at least Alyssa knows her worth. And in case you're wondering, yes, Drew also has a man at the end of the movie. Maniac, played by Patrick Cage. Their chemistry works really well. Seriously, a lot of the people play off each other really well in this movie. And, I mean, listen, this movie had everything. A phenomenal performances by Keke Palmer and SZA, Vanessa Bell Calloway, Little Ray Howery. It was the buyer who tried to buy those shoes off of Alyssa and Drew I mentioned earlier. And come on, man. It's Cat Williams. You know, anytime Cat Williams is on screen, it's a treat. So obviously it looks like this movie's going to be a one and done type thing. Actually, ooh, wait, hold on. Okay. So in June of last year, it was announced that a sequel is in early development, with Keke Palmer and SZA reprising their roles. That's what I was wondering, actually. Because listen, if this movie winds up being a one and done thing, great. Love that. But sequels, I think one of them days will be the Friday of this generation. If you don't know, Friday was a film franchise starring Ice Cube. You know, it was Friday, the next Friday, Friday after next. We're supposed to be getting a fourth Friday movie, but that's been announced for years, and I ain't seen nothing about it yet, but we'll see. But one of them days, though, getting a sequel. Will be one of them days, another one of them days, another one of them days. Yeah, there's definitely sequel potential here. Like, maybe if there was ever a sequel for this movie, this should take place like a couple years after the original does, where, like, you know, Drew has been a successful franchise manager for X number of years. Alyssa's been a renowned artist for X number of years, but they still hang out, they're still best friends, and something goes wrong where they both got to come together to fix the problem, or solve the problem, I guess. I don't know. Again, the sequel may have been announced, but it's in early development. We're probably not going to get anything we're probably not going to hear anything about a sequel until, bare minimum, as early as late 2026. If that. I'd be open to it. This is a great movie, and it's on Netflix for you to check out right now. I highly recommend you watch it. In fact, I liked it so much, I might just watch it again. Hope y'all like this video. If you like this, right, YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm your home video. You also watching Joe for today. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. Oh, happy Friday, folks. And remember, if you guys want to talk to me, we're here to lend you always back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.